Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? Yeah, good? Happy faces? Aspiring CCIEs, everybody, I imagine, in this session. No, not really? Okay. Well, at least one say yes. That's a success.
And if you are a CCIE, then we're going to make you multiple CCIEs by the end of this. Yeah. Okay.
It doesn't stop at one. So, hello, my name is Rocco. I work for a company called NIL. We are part of the NIL Learning team. We're a learning partner for Cisco. We've been a learning partner for many, many years.
And I'm Brad Thomas. Pleased to meet you. I'm one of the directors of NIL South Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa. So pleased to meet you all.
Good. So first of all, I'm going to tell you a little bit about who we are, just so we gain your credibility. This is my hidden agenda here, that you know that what we're doing has a reason why we're doing this. Now, NIL was founded many years ago when Cisco was an infant. So 35 years ago, NIL was founded. And very soon after, we also became a learning partner. So we've been doing Cisco technologies for many, many, many years. You can see some of our milestones over there. I'm not going to bore you with that, but you can see the trajectory is very long. And a few years ago, starting with our team in Africa, we actually created a program called Project 525. And this project was actually very, very successful right from the beginning. And we actually won an award in that same year. And the first batch of graduates from this program, because this is it's like taking a university course, right? It's really, really heavy training. And the first batch of those graduates that achieved the CCIE certification came out in 2024. I was there, I was invited. Brad was the brain behind that graduation ceremony, and it was the single highest number of CCIEs awarded at a single time. How many were there, Brad?
There was about 22.
22 people got their CCIE at one time. Cisco Certifications team came over, everybody was very, very happy, right? So we've been doing this for a long time. We've been learning partners for many, many years. Now, did you hear, were you at the plenary session today? Yeah? Did you hear Oliver talking about the CCIE certification? CCIE certification has been the most prestigious certification from Cisco. Inside the IT industry, it's really, really highly regarded. A lot of people aspire to become a CCIE. Not everybody makes it. Cisco makes it a difficult certification on purpose. They really want you to know your stuff. They time you. They make it actually timed, so you know that you only have a limited amount of time to make that happen, to pass that exam, because when you're troubleshooting a real network, that will happen. You will actually have a customer breathing on your neck telling you, or it's your own network, and you have your manager breathing on your neck and telling you this needs to work right now. So that's why this certification has been created as it been, is to give you the skills that you need to do a really difficult job, to be an expert on your field. Now, when people are preparing for the CCIE exam, a lot of the times they do it on their own, right? There's been a few programs for Cisco. There's been a few programs that you find online, boot camps or the like. But a lot of the time you're on your own. You are studying on your own, creating your labs on your own. And it usually takes 2 to 3 years for somebody to prepare, right? And I've even seen people that have taken the exam several times and they've given up because they are doing it on their own. So this is why we are taking a slightly different approach. So the reality of how you study when you're preparing to your CCIE, right? You need to sacrifice time. You need to make a conscious decision that you're gonna spend some of your time studying to become a CCIE. And you need to know that this is gonna be a sacrifice of time that you would otherwise spend having fun with your family, with your friends. So that's one of the things that you need to make a decision. The reason why you do it, it's a life decision. This is not just a tick in the box, a little thing that you do for work. You have chosen to become an expert. This is going to be your life, right? This is going to be who you become, right? This is not only that sticker of CCIE. You're now an expert in networking. That opens up doors for work. That gives you prestige inside the company. That opens up colleagues as well. You become part of CCIE clubs and things like that. So it is actually a life decision that you're making. When you're studying, you have the pressure of the time. You're nervous during the exam. You know that you have the exam book for this day. By then, you need to be ready. So there's a time constraint associated to it as well. You need to have a very structured approach. If you're studying on your own, this is difficult, right? So this is one of the things we took into account. You need to have a structure up front. You need to manage your time really wisely because you don't want to spend 10 hours learning something that should be simple. You want to make sure that you are spending the time on the things you need to spend them, right? And it's difficult to pass. And sometimes it's weird to find out what was the problem. Sometimes people don't read the whole exam, and that takes them more time to solve it because they didn't know that on step 10 they need to do something in the same machine that they needed to do in step 1, and they need to go back and reconfigure because they didn't read the whole exam. That's a common problem. Another common problem is overconfidence. A lot of people prepare a lot and they think, I know it, but they haven't actually prepared for the exam. The exam itself has its own quirks, let's call it, right? So overconfidence can be your enemy here. So we have even taken this into consideration to this program. You require passion, patience, and perseverance. Without that, you're not going to get your CCIE. With all of these components in mind, right, we started a story to work on a CCIE program. And now I'm going to pass on the ball to Brad, and he's going to tell you what is Project 525.
Thank you. Okay, so where does 525 come from? I think that's a question on everyone's mind. The intention around 525, which I'm a bit far away here.
I think you're going to have to stand a little bit closer. That one, yeah.
Okay, there you go. So the intention around 525 was to address a skills deficit that we have in Africa. Okay, so from South African point of view, we saw that there was a very limited amount to a massive exodus of expert type skills out of the country. In fact, it filtered right the way down into CCNP, CCNA. And whenever an opportunity came for somebody in Africa to work across in Europe or the US, they would take that opportunity because it was very lucrative for them. But we needed to reinvest in it. And here you can actually see how it's actually broken down. And these are real estimates that we kind of came up with to say, okay, in Australia, there's CCIEs, there's about 900 CCIEs. UK, 950 CCIEs, these are just estimates. And in the USA, as much as 6,000, and so it goes on. Now, the scary statistic is that if you look at the continent of Africa and the true size of Africa, a lot of these countries in real life actually fit inside the continent of Africa. And there's 1.2 billion people in Africa. And the scary statistic, I've got to stand here.
Yeah, let's switch.
And the scary statistic is that there's only 300 CCIEs in the whole continent of Africa, not just in South Africa. So the concept was created for us back in 2023 to say, by the end of 2025, we want to have created 500 CCIEs in Africa by the end of 2025. There's your 525. Now, we didn't expect it to gain the kind of interest that it's got on international markets. Okay, so we've had a lot of interest coming out of the Middle East, where we've already started a cohort in the Middle East as well, very successfully with our counterparts there. And then we were taking it into the European market with obviously our company in Europe. And now we're actually looking at the broader market as well. So the intention around Africa was to build it. Now, we've run this program very successfully. There's a very high first-time percentage failure rate. For those of you who have done your CCIEs, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. To attempt it the first time is very difficult. The structure around it is what's required, and that's what we've put into this program. Now, what's important is that we haven't done this ourselves as NIL. What we've actually done is we've collaborated with Cisco's Learning and Certifications team, who have been phenomenal in assisting us to actually construct this program. So it's not something we've just built together and basically taken to the market. We've collaborated with Cisco to put in as much as possible into the program. And that has massive benefits for companies. So if you're a decision maker within an organization, we've managed to do it as a derivative work with Cisco Learning and Certifications, so you can use your Cisco Learning credits for a CCIE to get your CCIE, or you can pay cash if it comes out of the HR budget as well. So that's where it basically came from, the analogy 525. Now, just to give you some statistics, Elizabeth mentioned a little bit earlier that we started running it in South Africa. We currently have over 200 delegates on the program. Out of the delegates that we've run for CCIE on the program within a very short period of time, and Elizabeth's going to go through the construct of how we've built it out, which is 12 months, we've managed to get 78.5% success rate Okay, and if I told you what the percentage was for first-time failure rate, it's really high, and it's probably only 7% pass rate. So we kind of changed that dynamic significantly, giving everybody who embarks on a CCIE journey to have the best possible opportunity of becoming successful, hopefully first time around. That's our ambition, that's our goal. And then out of the project, you can see 80% completion. So some people drop off. Some people have life issues. But we have it as a structured, mentored program that addresses that and helps those individuals keep up with the program as well, which we'll delve into in a little bit more detail in a short while. Now, for those of you who have done CCIE, you've a legacy CCIE, you've had it for 15 years, 10 years, 5 years, whatever the case may be, you would have done the original version. Also, what we've done is we're doing it as the 1.1, so a lot of you will know this, this image, but this is the enterprise structure. Now, if you look on the right-hand side, there's two different modules when you're doing your CCIE exam, your lab exam. There's module 1, which is design, and then there's DOO. There's 3 hours for your module 1, and there's 5 hours for module 2. And what's difficult about module 1 is you'll see there's no backward navigation. All right, so we kind of prepare the individuals to understand what to expect out of this. And we have very much involvement from Cisco's Learning and Certifications to help the engineers to actually understand what they're going to expect. So much so that we built in an actual mock lab of the actual CCIE lab exam into the actual program. So you'll sit for 8 hours and actually do the mock exam prior to actually doing the final lab exam, over and above all the other components that we've included in the program itself. But the one big stumbling block that we've picked up out of this program is the ability for the engineers, especially the legacy engineers who are very skilled in what they do, to actually adapt to programmability and automation. So we've had our first cohort that was very successful. We had a lot of engineers go through the program. The biggest stumbling block on that program was when they got to automation and programmability. And so what we do is we actually inject instructors into the program to actually assist at that particular junction. So those individuals going through the program will become familiar with what to expect out of it. And here you'll actually see there's about 45% on software defined, 25% on software defined, and 15% on infrastructure and automation. That's 40%, what's my maths? That's yes. About 40%. 40% of the lab exam is now programmability and automation. And this is where a lot of people stumble. So if you're doing this process on your own in an unstructured format, what typically happens is these are the areas that you really structure. Now, we've got mentors, we've got guidance facilitators throughout the program to support you. We've got somebody who watches you and helps you maintain up with the pace that's required to get through within that 12-month period. It is difficult. It's supposed to be difficult. A CCIE is by far one of the most respected certifications in the IT industry today, by far, okay? And we've seen that. If you've got that as on your CV, it comes very highly regarded, okay? And I'm going to hand back this section back to you.
Thank you. Okay. So you have the intro, you have the general idea of what we're trying to achieve, help you pass your CCIE, right? And now I'm going to give you the timeline. I'm going to tell you how this program works. And this is going to be totally different to whatever you've done on learning and certifications from Cisco. Because learning certifications are usually 3-day training, 5-day training, maybe it's a month program. This is 1 year. This is 1 year that you will live and breathe with us, that we will help you get to the knowledge you need to pass your CCIE. So first of all, there are prerequisites. There are 2 things that you need to do at the beginning. 1, we're not going to take just anybody because not everybody is ready. You know, to become an expert, you need to have a certain level of knowledge, and you also have to have a certain level of experience on the job, right? So first of all, you have to have your prerequisite, your core certificate done, right? Your core exam, not certificate, done. If you have that done, which is a prerequisite to do the CCIE Lab exam, then we'll do a pre-assessment of your knowledge. There are 2 reasons here. 1 is to know if you're ready for the program. The other one is to help us, the mentor, the coordinator, everybody else, to know how much you know and help you in the areas where you are weaker, right? So it's a baseline for us. It's a knowledge baseline. After that, one too far. You go into the program, which takes, as I said before, an entire year. There are 3 phases to this program. Phase 1 is the longest because you're going to be doing a lot of specific trainings on different topics to get you to have let's call it a critical mass of information in your brain and knowledge in your brain to take you to the CCIE bootcamp. That will be phase 2. So in phase 1, you're going to have basically 4 components in every one of the tracks, because there are several different tracks here, like there are several CCIEs. Cisco U is the first component. This is self-paced, because we do not expect your company to give you a year off. You're not going to be studying all the time. You're going to do this in your own time. Some people will get time from their managers during the day. Some people do it during the weekend. Some people do it during the week. It will be up to you how you manage your time during a particular week. And here, you do self-learning. But you're not on your own. All the time that you're doing this self-learning, you will have a mentor. That's item number 2 here. The mentor will be with you every step of the way, and they will give you a certain amount of hours every month. So it basically is 2 hours a week that you and your cohort, this is the team that is studying together, right? Because as I said, you're not on your own. You will be studying with other people that are preparing for the same thing. You and your cohort will have access to this mentor a certain amount of hours every week, 2 hours every week. Towards the end is more. Right? So second time is the mentor. The mentor is obviously CCIE certified. Third item that you have here is reporting. You will get reports every week on your progress. You will know where you're failing. If you get behind, we will tell you. And we will work with you to catch up. If you get behind 2-3 weeks, it's going to be very difficult for you to get to the other steps on time. So we're going to be with you every step of the way to make sure that you are keeping track of every part of the knowledge that you need to acquire. Item number 4 is you get access to labs. You get access to CML, and we even give you some architectures so you don't have to just create everything on your own. So you get access to Cisco Modeling Labs as part of the program. So you don't even have to go. Some people, I don't know if you ever had to do that. If any of you have done your CCIE or studied, go and buy some equipment on eBay just to build a lab at home, right? We give you that as well. Now, once you have gone through that, which has been a few long months, you get to your CCIE bootcamp. This is a bootcamp that will take you 2 weeks. This is the time where your manager needs to give you that time off. It will have to be 2 weeks full-time attending this bootcamp. We will get you ready to go into the next phase. Now, if you require more time, we have helped many different candidates during the program. So Brad and his team has helped a lot of candidates. There are companies that will give you extra PTO days, so you can take more vacation to cope with the load. There are many solutions that we work with. There's a very human element to this program because we are with you 1 year. So there are many solutions that we have found for these kind of problems. Now that you've done your bootcamp, the next step is what Brad mentioned before, the mock exam. It's a simulation of the CCIE Lab, which we've developed, again, with the help of learning and certifications from Cisco. So this hasn't been created on our own. And it is an architecture like what you get in the CCIE Lab, which will be running in a data center, so you can go and sit there for 8 hours and you actually get qualified. So there's a method there to tell you how well you did and how many points you got in each area. If you do well at that step, after this, you go and you take your CCIE Lab exam. Included in the price and the cost and the investment that you made is also the CCIE Lab voucher. And here you have 2 tries that you can try. The first one, you get a voucher, you just go, right? The second one is an insurance policy, we call it. You pay for it, and if you pass, we'll give you your money back. Anybody has any idea why we did it like that? Why we didn't give you just 2 vouchers? What happens if I give you 2 vouchers to pass the CCIE? You probably just go the first time to try it. Just to try it, and the second time you pass. So we wanted you to take it seriously on the first try. So that's why we did it this way.
Correct.
Okay.
Can I just go back there as well?
Yes, of course.
Please. So just with regards to the boot camp as well that you take away, what we've actually done is we've contracted in, if some of you know a gentleman by the name of Narbek Cochrane, so very well renowned and respected in the industry and taking individuals across the line at the last stage of their effort to become a CCIE. He's part of this. Okay, so he's actually embedded in this. His organization is embedded in this, and they are the ones that whiteboard it and take you through and build the topologies and the simulations around how to get through, specifically on the SD type stuff where the guys are struggling. He is actually a big part of it, and the engineers that have been through, when they get to Narbek, they kind of realize just how much they still don't know. and he kind of gets him to a point of readiness. Okay, so well respected. Look him up if you don't know him. Very well respected in the industry as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Yeah. Now, the tracks. Enterprise infrastructure. That was the first track that was developed, and obviously there's a track on 525 for enterprise infrastructure. Security is also there already. Data center as well. Service provider. Those are the 4 that we have at the moment. There's more coming. So we are aiming to have a track of 525 for every expert certification from Cisco. How does this look? This is a little bit of a more detailed table, but you have your pre-assessment, your prerequisite to enter the program, the month in the program, 12 months in total, the mentor hours you get for every month in the program. Also, the reporting is across the entire program, the 12 months. The CCIE track, specifically what trainings are included. So this is the list of trainings that you get in Cisco U. You will also get, as part of this program, you will get 2 vouchers to pass electives of CCNP. If you only have your NCORE, but you don't have your CCNP certification, you can use one of these vouchers, or both of them, to pass an elective with Cisco. So you can then get your CCNP certification before you get your CCIE. This is an estimated number of hours of how much time you're going to have to study every month. On average, people spend about 1,000 hours of their time studying, preparing for the CCIE exam. Some people spend double that time, some people slightly less. So this is just an estimate. It's up to you and how you study and how you prepare, how much more time or less time you need. Now, that's enterprise infrastructure, and this is the reason we're here. Actually, around the corner there's a booth from NIL Learning, and the reason why we're sponsoring this year is because we are launching 525 in Europe. So it's coming from Africa into Europe now, and enterprise infrastructure will be the first one to be running in Europe as well. We have 3 more. This is security, service provider, and data center. You will get the slides afterwards, so if you need to peruse this because you're pursuing another CCIE, you get that so you can see what will be included in those programs. And these 3 programs will be launched in Europe in about springtime, right? So these are going to be running also very soon. So do get in touch if you are interested on attending any of these programs. There you go. Back to you, Brad.
Right. Okay, I'm going to go back 1 slide, and just very importantly is this particular row here. I think if anything's not managed and controlled, there's no way of telling just how you're progressing as well. So what we did was we worked, as I said, quite closely with the learning and certifications guys, and we built out a very comprehensive reporting. In fact, we utilized some of Cisco's input into this report on how we actually extract the information. And what you can see here is it's very detailed and quite granular, and it can actually get a lot more granular than this as well. But what Elizabeth was talking about earlier is that we can actually draw a report. This is the kind of content that we'll extract from that report to provide to a line manager. So if you're a line manager in here, what is the return on my investment on the individual going through this program? 1 is certainly going to be the knowledge that they're going to acquire through the program, and 2 is obviously I'm going to be able to see how they're progressing and are they going to actually succeed and come out the other side successful. And this kind of gives that feedback both to the mentor, who is very critical to this, because once the mentor identifies where they're falling down, they can actually assist in bringing them back up to that particular point that they need to be. And also the line of business manager sees the progress of the individual. So we can see the kind of how far they've progressed on the learning paths, how many courses are outstanding on the individual, and we can pull this report and readily provide it to anybody that's actually going through the actual program itself. And that's a little bit more detail on how granular it can go and how we can select it on an individual, or if an organization had a closed enrollment for one of the cohorts, they'd be able to see a full report and a diagnosis on all of the delegates on that program as well. So very important component is how does the organization measure the output of the individual and how committed are they? If there isn't a report, we wouldn't even know where they are. So what we've also got is a project administrator in the actual program supporting the mentor and sits in weekly with the mentor as well, just to they communicate with the individual. If life happens, okay, something happens to an individual, the program administrator will pick that up and report that back to the mentor, and we will also get provided that information to share with the line or the organization as well, which is very important. Okay, so some of the key points that we've spoken about, and just in summary on what we've covered today, is we are able to actually bring the labs to a specific country. I'll give you an example. We talk to the learning and certification team and we ask if it's possible to take the labs to a country, because in South Africa, what we typically had to do was fly to Brussels or to Dubai or to the US to go and do it. That takes out a lot of time from the CCI. It's very stressful. There's jet lag. All of those components come into play. So now we can actually take the labs to a specific country that is under request. And we put a motivation through, and typically it's been signed off as a positive. I'll give you the latest one was Nigeria, where we've been able to actually allocate labs to Nigeria to run the labs as well. Okay, so that's very important because we can bring the labs to that country. All right, mentors, we've spoken in depth about the mentor, very critical. The pre-assessment exam goes to the mentor. The mentor then identifies the weakness of that individual that's going through the program and can specifically apply attention to the individual while going through that particular program itself. Covering the boot camp we've spoken about and how we've got Micronics involved in it. The supported simulations, we've spoken about how that lab, before you go in to do your final lab, will give you a true test because it's going to be graded and we'll understand exactly where you are before you actually go and conduct your lab exam, your final lab exam. You've got access to the practice labs. The mobile exams we've spoken about. We've got a rewrite built in there, but as we've said, it is an insurance policy, so we're trying to drive a particular behavior for the individuals. There's mentorship, membership into what's called the CCIE Club. This is in Africa. I don't know if it's practiced around the world, but certainly in Africa, we want to celebrate CCIEs. We want to really get them together as a community and really have an energy around, you know, these, because CCIEs are typically mentors to the CCNPs and the CCNAs within an organization, and they want to aspire to actually become a CCIE at some stage as well. It also counts to your Cisco continued education credits. Okay, so that's also very big for people who want to recertify and maintain certification as well. And then we've spoken about the 2 electives that are built into the actual program as well. So that's, Elizabeth, that's really it. I think we've done well. We've stayed within our time.
If you want to find out more about the program, you can go to either of these 2 websites. For Africa, it will be the link at the top, or you can just ping Brad and talk to him. For Europe, it will be the one at the bottom, or you can talk to me at any time. If you have any more questions or you want to talk to us directly, we are around the corner at the booth from NIL Learning. We have this little remote control cars there. You will see us. And any questions from you guys? Any comments or questions from anybody in the audience? I would love to hear anything from you. So the cost is 145 CLCs or $15,000. So that is the cost. Do you think, let me ask you then a question. Do you think that's expensive with everything you have included? It depends, obviously it depends. Taking into consideration all the licenses, the access, the vouchers that you get, it's actually a pretty good price, let me tell you guys. It's a year of training that you will be getting worth in that price. Any other questions?
Yes.
Sorry?
Should we be on site all the time?
Oh, that's a good question. He's asking whether they need to be on site to attend this training. No, the majority of is done remotely. If we do get a team of enough capacity that will be local, then we may consider doing some of the mentoring and the stuff locally. But most of the time, we get people from different countries joining the same team. So the mentoring is done remotely. The boot camp can be done remotely. So it depends on whether we have enough to make it local, but mostly it is virtual. Yeah?
Just in terms of the costs as well, some of you may know Dave Mallory and Chris Ferreira over there as well. He's been very much part of building this with us. And Dave's just reminded me, just from the cost perspective, all the lab costs are actually included into the program itself as well. Okay, so that's quite a bit that's been included into the actual program. So there's no hidden costs over and above what we've...
The exam as well, and the rewrite as well.
Yeah. The vouchers, the lab costs, all of those kinds of things. It's all inclusive in the actual program.
So if you like what you heard, give a nod today, because without him, we wouldn't be here.
His whole certification team. But thank you. Really appreciate your time, everyone. We've got 59 seconds, so if there's any questions,
one more question,
them, or come and chat to us. If you want to break it down and drill it down, please come and chat to us. We'd really like to share the information with you. But thanks very much for your time today.